Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Torah with your host, Rabbi Anibal. So happy that you could join me this afternoon. I'm streaming live from the Asper campus. Look, Rene is here. Dr. Rene is saying hi to everyone.
Everybody.
So, yeah, let's see if I can put my name here. Why my name is not here? Why my name is not here? Let's see. There is one thing that I remember I changed last time. There was a show name. Maybe here, the settings, here. There you go. There you can have my name, right? So welcome everyone again. I hope the sound is okay. If there is anything wrong, please let me know. It's the only way I have for me to adjust all the settings. And again, if you happen to be in the city, I'm streaming live from the Asper Jewish Community Campus in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I'm right next to Schmoozers. It's an open area, so you may have noises and music and other people chatting, but that's okay. That's okay. It's a community center. It's a place where many people do many different things. Some people come to exercise, some people come to eat, some people come to schmooze, some people come to study Torah. Hopefully, that's going to be us. But doesn't mean that you cannot eat or schmooze as you study Torah, because we have the chat open. And I would like to say hello to Karen Farkas. And Julie and Paul are here. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Brendan David Grossman. Welcome to Amparo Goldman and Paul Rayburn. Welcome to all of you. Welcome, Dev Stern. She is. You see, I have people here that they stop. They stay for a few minutes. Here she is. And then they catch one or two comments of Torah and then they leave. That's also good. That's also good. So how is everybody doing? How was your Shavuot? Let me know in the chat also. And how are your preparations for Shabbat? And Shabbat Nasso. Hopefully we are going to study a little bit more about the Parsha so we can be better prepared for this week experience at synagogue. Again, Parsha Nasso is from the book of Numbers. And I'm going to talk to you about one specific thing. I'm not going to say yet what it is, but I want to mention that last Saturday night, we had this amazing bat mitzvah. It was off-site because Shaare Zedek is closed for renovations until probably June 2024. So we did it in the hotel, and it was beautiful. But what I wanted to tell you is the teaching that the bat mitzvah shared with everybody in the room, and it was amazing. She was talking about how in this week's Parsha, God has assigned the families of the Levites different tasks. And God gives the families of the Levites carts and oxen to move things from the tabernacle from one side to another. Remember, they were in camp for a few days. Then they have to take everything up and move to another location. So the tabernacle we have to be disassembled, put into carts, and move to the new location. But it was one specific family of the Levites that they were not given anything, no oxen, no carts. Why is that? It's because they supposed to move the sacred objects of the tabernacle, and God said to them that the sacred objects will have to be carried upon their shoulders. And we had a beautiful teaching from this bat mitzvah girl saying that how, and she gave beautiful examples, how there are certain things that you can never delegate, right? Like, for example, the values, and she was talking how she learned all the values from her parents, not necessarily from the school, but that's okay because there are certain things that you never delegate. So as parents, there are certain things in our kids' education that we never delegate to anybody else. It's upon our shoulders. We have to, because they are the sacred things of life. And I thought it was a beautiful teaching. I wanted to share it with you as well. Welcome, Josue Rivera. Welcome to the class. We are almost ready to begin. Almost ready. I just want to wait maybe a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to share with you all this beautiful text that I have about this week's parsha. Okay, Parsha Nasso. Nasso. And one of the topics of the Parshat Nassau is one of the donations that the Jewish people have to make at the time of the temple. There were lots of instances like that where they're supposed to bring donations to the temple, and most of the donations were either for operations of the temple, so they will have everything they needed for the sacrifices, right? They needed animals, they needed some other resource involved in the preparation of the sacrifices. But some of the donations were for the priests. The priests didn't really have a fixed income. They rely on donations from the people of Israel that they will bring it to the temple. So we are going to see one of those things in this week's parsha, and it's going to be hopefully a little bit more clear what was done and in which way. But the funny thing is how the language the Torah is going to use to let us know about the obligation to bring such donations. Okay, so without further ado, let me bring this text so we can start studying. I want to do it like this. Perfect. So let's begin with the book of Numbers, chapter 5, verses 9 to 10. Okay, just a couple of verses. From chapter 5. It's talking about Vechol Teruma. I don't know if you ever heard that word before. I thought about it multiple times. Teruma means offering, but it's also a gift. Okay? A gift, an offering brought to the tabernacle. Eventually, when the Temple of Jerusalem was created, the temple replaced the tabernacle, and the concept of teruma was all the gifts and offerings that people will bring to the temple. Okay, so this is the way it goes. Vechol teruma lechol kodshei bnei Israel. Said, and every portion or offering or gift from any of the holies that the children of Israel brings to the Kohen, to the priest, shall be his. A man's holies shall be his, and what a man gives to the Kohen shall be his. Why do I say that this is a funny language the Torah uses? Is because it's not clear at all who is this his. Read it again, take a minute. Read it again from the screen. Let's see if you can figure it out. Who is the subject here? Okay? Because it says, and every portion from any of the holies that the children of Israel bring to the Kohen shall be his. Who is he? Is it the Kohen or the donor? Let's see if you can see that. And even in the English, it's not clear, but in the Hebrew, it's not clear. In the Hebrew, say law in the sense his, but the subject is not clear. Now, one of the theories is why is this is because by this commandment being written in this way, it implies that there is a benefit to both the receiver, giver, both the Kohen and the donors benefit from the donation. Okay, Karen Farkas, it should belong to whichever priest it is given to. Yeah, I know. That is, when you give a portion, the Kohen, yes, it receives that and can keep it. But the way it's written in the Torah is written in a way that it's also like both the giver and the receiver are getting something out of this transaction, right? Because it says whatever is given to the Kohen who should be his, and this his implies both the Kohen and the donor. And I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to realize that this is what Judaism is trying to teach us whenever we donate something. Whenever we give tzedakah, there is benefit to the receiver, of course, because we are doing an act of kindness, an act of chesed, right? We are helping somebody with our gift, but there is also something that we received. It could be in a way of joy, right? Because there is a satisfaction of giving. There is also in a way that in the spiritual world, in the spiritual realm, you're getting a reward by giving these gifts of tzedakah. right? So there is also something that you get when you give. But I wanted to use this text as a trigger. Can't forget what I said. Clyde thinks it is written this way. Let me highlight this. So the rabbis will be employed for many years trying to figure it out. Ha, very funny, but it's a good one. Maybe that's what it is. No, but I think it's very clear to make it this way that is ambiguous. It means that both receives, but it's. I wanted to talk about the concept in Judaism about giving and about living a life of serving others. Um, and there is something I believe to a certain extent every religion is teaching their followers kind of the same thing, that the idea of developing a relationship with the creator in any way or shape you understand it, right? Because different religions will have different understandings of their gods, right? Of their deities. The idea of developing this relationship with the creator is in the same way that the creator is a giver and we are a receiver. We have to try to emulate the creator by ourselves becoming givers. And it's something very important that we should all learn. The way that one of the ways of becoming like God is by becoming givers, becoming givers like God. And it's one way of living life. Some people will live lives just uh, self centered, that all what matters is what happens to you, and they will go through life with a me kind of attitude. But that's not the Jewish way. And I would say, again, this is something that you can find across the border, from all the religions that they try to teach their followers to not to live a self-centered lives, but to live such life where you can become givers to others. Okay, again, I want to say this is not something that is exclusively Jewish, but is very rooted in Judaism and repeated multiple times in the Torah and even more times in the Talmud. Okay? So, with that in mind, I want to bring to you the next text to start talking about such way of living. Now, let me give you a story. And it's a beautiful story about the misunderstandings of giving. Okay? Listen to this. The following story is told about Rabbi Tarfon. He was very wealthy. By the way, Rabbi Tarfon is from the Talmudic times, almost maybe 2,000 years ago. Okay? Rabbi Tarfon. He was very wealthy, but was not in the habit of giving substantially to the poor. One time, Rabbi Akiva said to him, "Would you like me to be your agent in buying a town or two for you?" "Certainly," replied Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Tarfon then brought 1,000 gold dinars and distributed to the poor. Sometime later, Rabbi Tarfon sought out Rabbi Akiva and said to him, "Okay, we are the towns that you bought for me." Rabbi Akiva took him by the hand and brought him to the Beit Midrash, the study house, and brought over a child with a book of Psalms in his hand. The child read Psalm 112. "Happy is the one who fears the Lord, who is devoted to his commandments." Until he got to the verse, "He gives freely to the poor. His tzedakah lasts forever. His horn is exalted in honor." Rabbi Akiva then said, "This is the property which I bought for you." Rabbi Tarfon hugged Rabbi Akiva and said, "You are my teacher and my leaders. You are my teacher in wisdom and my leader in derech eretz, proper conduct." Then Rabbi Tarfon started to give liberally more money. And I believe this is a beautiful story because it brings to us the concept on how sometimes we believe that whatever we give is a loss. We used to have it, we don't have it anymore. And then yes, maybe somebody else have it and we are happy for that, but it's not with us anymore. And I believe that with this midrash is trying to teach us is that whatever we give as tzedakah, it actually stays with us as well in a different way. In a different way, not in a physical way anymore, but it stayed with us. The rabbis try to understand this rationally in how many different ways whatever we give stay with us. One of the things that I read before is that let's say that you give money to somebody. Now that person, because he's in a different situation, now they have funds. Maybe they were able to study. Maybe they were able to help somebody else. All those merits are also going to come to you. It's almost like whenever you give somebody tzedakah and that person fulfills a mitzvah thanks to your gift, the reward for that mitzvah, it also comes to you. So that's one way how whatever you give, you're not really giving, it stays with you, but in a different way. That's one of the way. Of course, there is also the real satisfaction, because when we give, we are happier. I realized, and I was reading a few essays about it, and you can go and Google it, and how there are many studies that say that people who are givers or people who dedicate their lives serving others are among the happiest people on earth. It's usually that we it's counterintuitive. We usually may think that people who live a life as self-centered and getting things for themselves only, right, buying things for themselves, will be among the happiest people because everything revolves around them. But it's not true. Those people are usually the one that they will have many different problems related to different degrees of depression, while people who live a life centered on helping others are amongst the happiest people. It's very interesting. And I think Rabbi Akiva understood that when he taught Rabbi Tarfon a lesson that changed his life forever. Now, there is another word that is mentioned here, that is the concept of derech eretz. Do you see that? Derech eretz here is translated as proper conduct. And this is a very important concept, okay? And I want to take a minute or two for you to understand the concept of derech eretz. This is the way that we behave in society, okay? Judaism is not intended to function in isolation. A good Jew should be able to be a functional citizen of wherever he or she lives. The way we interact in society as good people, all those sets of rules to be good people in a society are all known as derech eretz, and proper conduct. Proper conduct. And so I want to study with you what the rabbis say on what kind of rules we have about living a life of derech eretz. And derech eretz is also it's like this middle point that we all learn without extremes, without anything out of the ordinary. How can we become good people and functional members of society? Have you ever heard about this term before, derech eretz? Let me know in the chat. I would like to know if you ever heard about such a thing of derech eretz. And also, let me know in the chat if you know anything about the concept of, if you want to share anything about the concept of tzedakah, giving to others, and living a life centered on serving others. Let me know your experience. I would like to know. I'm very curious about it. Okay? Meanwhile, I will continue. Now, let's try to define derech eretz according to the rabbis of Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. Okay? Derech eretz includes everything that flows from the human being's necessity to perfect his destiny and his life together with his society through the medium of the earth bounty. Hence, the term is used in reference to earning a livelihood and establishing civic order, and in reference to the paths of discipline with manners and refinement that social life require, and to everything that touches upon the development of humankind and civility. And this definition of Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch is quoted many times in modern Jewish life, because he was able to put together a complex concept into words that we can understand. Okay, so and it's interesting because part of the Recheretz, according to the rabbi, it also implies to get a job, right? And it also implies that it's not enough. It's not good enough with being a Torah scholar. You know, you go to the house of study and you increase your knowledge. You also have to develop manners and refinement, right? So even, for example, if you get used when you eat, if you use cutlery or the way you behave in front of other people, it's all the derech, and we have the obligation to follow it. It's one of the commandments. So it is important for us not only to become Torah scholars, but also to become good people through the refinement of our manners. It's very interesting. And Rabbi Hirsch is also implying that by doing this, we are improving humankind, society. So when we are realizing what can we do uh, to improve the world, one of the things that we can do is to become functional citizens, right? Functional human beings in a society, and to contribute to make that society better. And that's where, for example, the concept of tzedakah comes to play, because we all know that even though they are, and the rabbis talk about different priorities for tzedakah. Let's see, but we all have limited funds. I wish we could help every single good cause on earth, right? And yes, there is a list of priority. You should start from your own family, then you should continue by your community and so forth. But at the end of the day, the rabbis say that you are free to give tzedakah to whoever your heart is telling you. So that's why it is important for Jews, I believe, to also give tzedakah to non-Jewish causes, because we all benefit from that. And that's why I'm talking here now in Winnipeg. Okay, I have the opportunity to work with Bnei Not Mitzvah students. I work with them and I help them. I coach them when they have to write the Devar Torah, the famous Torah speech that they have to write for their ceremonies. One of the things that I had to work with them is the bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah project. That here in Winnipeg, it consists mostly on taking some of their bar mitzvah money and to make a donation to a charity. So one of the things that I do is we explore different charities, help them to heart their feelings and to figure it out where their heart is pushing them, right, to donate. It's not that we tell them, hey, you have to make a donation to the synagogue, otherwise it's not kosher. You have to make a donation, I don't know, to JNF, otherwise it's not kosher. Not at all. Some of the kids, they like animals, they like pets. So at the end of the day, they end up making a donation to the Humane Society. Some other kids, they uh, they are huge into sports. Okay, so they make a donation to Jumpstart. Jumpstart is a charity that it will help kids with low that come from families with low income, or they have certain disabilities, to still find a way to get included into group sports. So they're great charities, and we all have to get used to this. We all have to become givers, but we have to give to different charities, and we do. If we all do that, that is part of the Eretz, and that is part to make it our society, the society where we live, a better one. Okay, so it's a very important concept. Amparo Goldman, you said yes. Torah says, and you shall not ignore your own flesh. Yeah, but again, to where you give your own money is totally up to you. Nobody should ever tell you, no, don't give it there, give it to the other one. Okay, it's totally up to you. The only the only exception in Judaism of people who has to give money to a specific group are those specific charities. So if you have a charity that what it does is to help uh, animals and pets, what you have the obligation to give to them. Other than that, if you're an individual, you are free to give charity to whoever you want. Okay, so let's continue studying this fascinating thing that is the Eretz. Now, Rabban Gamliel. Oh, so basically, you see this. I will go back here. Uh, Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch learns this from Pirkei Avot 2:2. So I'm bringing to you Pirkei Avot so you can understand uh, where he learned it from. Pirkei Avot 2:2 says, Rabbi Judah Anasi said, excellent is the study of the Torah when combined with a worldly occupation, for toil in them both keeps sin out of one's mind. Very interesting. But study of Torah, which is not combined with a worldly occupation, in the end becomes to be neglected and becomes the cause of sin. And all who labor with the community should labor with them for the sake of heaven. For the merit of their forefathers sustains the community, and the forefather righteousness endures forever. And as for you, God in such case says, I credit you with a rich reward as if you yourself had actually accomplished it all. This is what I mentioned before. When you give, right, and everything you give for society, all that goodness, all the good actions that they are done with your contribution is also credited to you. You are getting mitzvah points for that. But it's beautiful the way it's said. Torah study by itself, not enough. Not enough. It has to be combined with a worldly occupation. In other words, it has to be combined with interaction with the real world, which is interesting because you could understand it the other way around, the other way as well. It's not just about interacting with the world and that's it. It has to be Torah present in everything we do. Okay? Everything we do. Now, I would like to read it in the chat. Thank you, Amparo, for all your comments. I love every one of your comments, guys. This is what makes this class interactive. And by the way, I want to repeat it because some of you came late. What I have behind me is not a green screen anymore. I'm streaming live from the Asper Jewish Community Center in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And the idea is to stream every class from here as much as I can. I know it's a little noisy around here. I'm running noise suppression filter with the microphone. I don't know how good it is. I don't have headphones, but nevertheless, that means that if any of you is in Winnipeg and want to come in person to be in front of me and contributing to the class, making comments or whatever, you are more than welcome. Okay, this is open for everybody. And if I get distracted, sometimes you will see my head moving side to side. It's because I have people walking, and some of them know me and some of them wave at me. But so far, I have to say nobody stayed. Nobody stayed. This is brand new. We didn't tell anybody. So no people. But hey, if you happen to be here, please come to say hello. Okay, please come to say hello. And if you are not here in person, please use the chat because I want to know what you think. I love to have these classes interactive. So let's continue. Derech Eretz. Now, Rabbi Ishmael, the son of Rabbi Nachman, said, Derech Eretz preceded Torah by 26 generations. This is the meaning of what is written to guard the way of the tree of life, The way refers to the Eretz. Afterwards, the tree of life, which is Torah. And this is true that Torah is described many times as a tree, right? For example, if you come to synagogue, when we put the Torah back in the ark, we sing Etz Chaimi, Etz Chaim I. The tree of life is the Torah. Okay, so the Torah and the tree are compared all the time. This is something that come out when we celebrate Tu B'Av, the New Year's of the not Tu B'Av, ah the New Year of the tree. How you call it? Uh, Tu B'Shvat. When we celebrate Tu B'Shvat and the New Year's of the tree, we also study that in that context that the tree also represents the Torah. Okay, but here the fact that the rabbis, the Midrash, said that Derech Eretz came before the Torah, it's a huge theological statement. Because if Derech Eretz is described as the way of living as a good person comes before Torah, it means that you should know how to be a good person even without Torah. Even if Torah was never revealed, society will always find ways to find a way of coexisting with each other. And this is also something that we studied before Shavuot. Remember when we were studying about the counting of the Omer from Pesach to Shavuot? It was a way to becoming good people even before the Torah was revealed. So again, it's the same concept that becoming a good person is independent from the Torah. The Torah then is a safeguard for us to remain good. But there is a lot of work that we have to do even before we start studying Torah. There are certain things that we have to figure out by ourselves. And then the Torah will be the gatekeeper to be sure that we stay like that. Okay? Just like that. Let's continue with the next text. Now, another story for you. Okay? Listen to this. However, upon reflection, we will see that character traits and attributes are an introduction to the Torah and the primary foundation of the essence of a person, without which a person is not worthy at all of Torah. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Right? If you don't have good character traits and attributes, right? If you don't have good character traits and attributes, you are not worthy of the Torah. Whew, love this. This is the intent of the rabbis Derech Eretz precede Torah by 26 generations. For all the good character traits and attributes are included in Derech Eretz. They were ingrained in human nature, and for them there is no need for the giving of the Torah. So the Torah is not there to teach us to be good people. That comes before Torah. Wonderful. The giving of the Torah come to what would it say there? Hold on a minute. I can't even read it. Build. The giving of the Torah came to build on these traits and attributes and to command him to continue to rise heavenward to even higher levels, transcending those which are in the realm of the Eretz. Upon reflection, we will see that this code too, which that which is referred to as the Eretz, which precede Torah from Sinai, is a comprehensive system which encompasses the entire man. This is interesting. So, if the Torah didn't come to teach us the Eretz, what is the Torah teaching us? Well, the Torah is teaching us our connection with heaven. So, everything that is spiritual development and everything that is our connection with the Creator and everything that it is understanding the meaning of life and the meaning that towards that there is a divine mission for each one of us, that it's something that sometimes we don't figure it out by ourselves. For that, we need the revelation of the Torah. It doesn't mean that we cannot figure it out without Torah. Because remember that there were people like our forefathers and foremothers, right? Or Moses, or Noah, mentioned in the Torah, that they were able not only to develop a solid derech eretz, but also a solid understanding and connection with God and connection with human purpose without the Torah being revealed, because they came before Torah. Okay, so you could argue that maybe there is a way, but for all of us, simple human beings, the Torah is there to help us to attain that level that comes or builds upon the Eretz. It doesn't replace it. That's something that many people believe, that, if you're a religious person, you don't need to be a good person. Wrong. Wrong. You have to be a good person and a religious person at the same time. And it's almost like it's not two things that they coexist side to side. It's something that being a religious person should be built not beside. So being religious should not be built beside being a good person, but on top of being a good person. You understand the difference? It's not side to side, it's one on top of the other. Yeah. Amparo Goldman, let me read what you wrote. Yes. The path of suffering, the path of Torah, and our sages call them the way of the world and the way of Torah. Okay, let me read it again. The way of the world and the way of Torah. Yeah, the way of the world that you mentioned there, I think is sometimes it's a synonym of derech eretz, the way we behave in this world. Okay, but what I'm saying is the spiritual layer, the spiritual level should be built on top of that, and not instead or not next to it. It should be on top of that. If you don't have a solid base of derech eretz, any attempt of spirituality will fall down. It has no base, no roots. So that's why derech eretz is so important in Judaism, to the point that sometimes I realize that many people stay there. Many people stay at derech eretz, doing good things, giving tzedakah, helping others, but they never continue with the next stage, which is to also develop a relationship with the Creator. You know what I mean? I believe that Eretz is important, but it's not the only thing. The Torah was revealed so we can continue with the next level. It's like playing a video game, right? Once you beat the boss, you go to the next level, and then you keep playing. Then you keep playing. It's not just one level, it's multiple levels, and every time you go higher and higher. Let's continue. Now, the Hiskuni says, if you will ask, why was the generation of the flood punished if they were never commanded to fulfill mitzvot? The answer is that there are numerous mitzvot that people must keep based on logic, even if they were not commanded to keep them. Therefore, they were punished. This is an excellent question, and I don't know if you ever ask yourself this. Why were they punished? There was never a Torah revealed telling the generation before Noah that being like building a chaotic society was a bad thing. And even though the Torah does not give us details of what kind of bad behavior they have, I think the Torah uses one word that is Hamas. But it implies the rabbis try to describe as murder, rape, robbery, everything you can imagine, everything. But and you would say, okay, how will they know that that is a no-no if the Torah was not revealed? And then you may argue, one of the answers is, okay, how did Noah know? Because he didn't do it. It's not that everybody did it. Noah realized that that was bad. And that's why he and his family were saved from the flood. But the other people, it's almost like they knew that is with bad, and they did it anyway. Maybe because they thought that it would be no consequences, and sometimes we do it all the time. We live in a society that we know our limits, but if there is nobody looking, we break the law. The most common, I will say, the most common example of this is driving over the speed limit. If we know that sometimes, if you're in a hurry and there are no cameras around, and you see that there are no police officers, some people will just push that gas pedal and speed, even though it's illegal. Why? Because there is nobody looking. And you feel that there will be no consequences of that, and many people stop before they break the law because they're afraid of consequences, or because they say maybe there is somebody looking, somebody watching. So I won't do it because I don't want to get caught. Not because it's bad, not because it's bad doing it. It's because they don't want to get caught. And back in the times of pre-flood, there were no courts of justice. There was nobody finding people accountable for anything they did. God didn't intervene. So even though people knew what was good, what was bad, out of logic, they decided to do the bad things because there were no consequences for it. But Noah stopped, and he followed that voice inside his head and said, "No, don't do that. That's bad." So it's possible to do it. It's possible to figure out what is good and what is bad, and that's why the Torah will say that the Eretz preceded the Torah in 26 generations, because it's talking about the very beginning of humanity. Okay, and when people actually knew what's supposed to be done, even though they didn't do it, even though they didn't do it. Okay, so let's continue with the next slide. And again, any comments, please let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Now, uh, let's continue with a different topic now. And there is something that I wanted to talk to you before we finish the class. And by the way, this class is going to be repeated tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. So if you miss any part of the beginning, don't worry. 8 p.m. Central Time. This whole class is getting recorded right now. Also, or it's getting streamed and recorded. The whole class is going to be rebroadcasted tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. Okay, so you can rewatch it later. I wanted to talk to you about a part of this parsha that is part of every service. Okay, and this is the what is called the Birkat Kohanim, or the Aharonic blessing, or the priestly blessing. You may have heard it with different names, but it's a very famous one. Okay, very famous one. And let me read it first, and then we are going to talk about it. It says, "Thus shall you bless the nation of Israel. Speak unto them. May Hashem bless you and safeguard you." Sometimes we say, may God bless you and keep you, right? You know this blessing. "May he illuminate his countenance upon you and let you find grace. May he lift his countenance upon you and establish peace for you." So, in Hebrew, you may recognize it better, that it goes, "Yevarechecha Adonai veishmerecha, Yair Adonai panav elecha vichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom." What was this? Hello, Kale. Welcome. What was this blessing intended for? Well, this was given to the priests, Aaron and his children, to be used as a form of blessing to the entire people of Israel. This was pronounced or recited back in the Temple of Jerusalem. It was a very holy moment when the priest will take the center stage and bless the entire nation with these holy words. We don't have the temple anymore, but this blessing is part of each one of our services. It's the blessing that we also use to bless bride and groom under the chuppah. We use this blessing to bless Bnei Bnot Mitzvah when they have their ceremony. We also bless babies when we give them a name, and so forth. It's a very powerful blessing. But the language of the blessing is very interesting. And that's what I wanted to discuss with you, especially at the very beginning. Well, there is one thing that almost, I don't know how to say, uh, I found that many of the words are unnecessary. They're unnecessary. Well, for example, let me give you an example. May Hashem bless you and safeguard you. Isn't that the same thing? When we ask God, God bless me, of course I want you to bless me, right? And when I feel blessed, I feel safe. But in this blessing, we have both words as two different things. What does it really mean? God bless me and safeguard me. If you have any idea of why we need both words, please let me know in the comment. Let me know in the chat. I want to know what you think, why we need all these many words, where some people may argue that the same concept, or the same idea of the blessing could be said with way fewer words than this. Do you have any comments or any idea why we need that many words? Let me know. I want to know. Meanwhile, I will continue with. I will give you some of the rabbinic explanations of why this is necessary. Let's put it away. Why each word is necessary. Next slide. So, listen to this from Rabbi Kamenetsky. By the way, wonderful rabbi, Mordechai Kamenetsky. If you find his stuff online, he's one of these rabbis who really know how to present complex things in a very, very easy to understand way. Okay. He said, it is not enough to get a blessing from Hashem. It's not enough to get a blessing from God. It must be given with the assurance that it will have a practical implication. Okay? Many people receive blessings of wealth and health only to lose them to thieves and aggravation. Each of the priestly blessings is followed by a safeguard, a follow up. A blessing of wealth alone is not enough. Hashem must guard it. Illuminating us with his countenance is not enough unless fellow humans appreciate the grace that God has given the Jews in this very corporeal world. And that is a worthless gift. And of course, even if he lifts his countenance upon us, we still need the blessing of shalom, peace. So this is a very interesting thing. It's like it's not enough for us to feel blessed by God. We want God to keep that blessing. We don't want to feel blessed, just for a short period of time. We're asking God to bless it and to keep that blessing presence in our life for a long time. A very important thing. And my favorite one is at the very end. Why the blessing ends with the concept of shalom. Because if you don't have shalom, you can't enjoy any of the blessings that you receive from God. It's a fact. It's a fact. Without peace, we cannot enjoy our blessings. You could be the wealthiest, healthiest, having the most wonderful family, friends, job, everything you want. But if you live in a war zone, you won't be able to enjoy your blessings. We need peace. And I will say, not just external peace, but also internal peace. Because the peace is the vessel, is a vessel that will allow you to keep all your blessings. It's like if you go to the supermarket, right? And you buy all these beautiful goods there, beautiful products and produce and treats. If you don't have a bag, you cannot bring those things home. They are just in front of you. You pay for them, but you cannot enjoy them because you don't have a vessel to get them with you. So peace is that universal vessel that would allow us to enjoy any blessings that we receive in this world. Is very important for us. And that's why in Judaism we pray for peace all the time. And even though on Shabbat or festivals, we are told by the rabbis that we should not ask for personal things, we still ask for peace. That's an exception. that's an exception, because without peace, we cannot enjoy anything else. Okay, very important. So, a couple more things. Now, for Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Ullman, he say all of the priestly blessings are faced in the singular. They are addressed to each individual separately. How then can the last blessing speak of peace? Isn't peace a collective concept? Peace between nations, peace between neighbors, etc. A Jew is commanded to love Hashem with all his heart and all his soul. But man has other interests, and his organs are at war with each other. Some wants to love and serve Hashem, while others may not. How can man? How can man win this war? Our sages teach that the one who wants to purify himself receives divine assistance. This is the meaning of the blessing that the Kohanim, the priest, say. May God establish peace for you. That means within you. V'yasem lecha shalom. Lecha, to you, but within you. May God bless you in a way that you can find internal peace. Because this is also a fact many times in our lives, that we blame external circumstances, but sometimes we don't realize that we have to start from the inside. What we perceive as lack of peace, it might be the way we interact with the world. So there is lots of things that we have to change within ourselves, right? So, yeah. Let me do this. And this is what I want to teach you today, guys. So, again, thank you so much to all of you for tuning in this afternoon. And I hope if you're in Winnipeg, you will come to see me at the Asper Jewish Community Campus on Thursdays at noon Central Time, where you can be here with me learning the Parsha, and you can interact. If you don't like to use the chat, well, no problem. Come in person and let's have a chat. I will give an opportunity to everyone coming to take this class in. We'll give an opportunity to say out loud everything you think, and we can have a three-way conversation, people in person and people in the chat, and we can all study together. Okay? So again, if you ever have a chance to come see me in person, please do. Please do. For now, give us a thumbs up. Share this video if you want. Remember that it's going to be rebroadcasted tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. And please check our website, swinnipeg.ca, and our Facebook page, where you will find all the upcoming programs and services where you can participate in person or online. Okay? Don't miss that opportunity. And until the time that we see each other, please stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you soon. Bye, everyone.